Okay, with Siyata Dishmaya, we're learning Amud Yomi to be mechazik our soldiers, to mechazik ourselves, to daven to Ribbon Shalom, to have all the strength that we can through our Torah learning and our kviz and our extra learning. So the Gemara on the bottom of Testament Aleph had quoted, and now talking more psukim about Yetzias Mitzrayim. We just finished about the machlokas between Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah and Rabbi Akiva about the chipazon, whether it's the chipazon the Yisrael, chipazon the Mitzrayim. And the Gemara now says that there's a pasuk in Shmot Yud Aleph, Daber na be'aznei am v'yishalu ish me'et reu v'isha me'et ruta klei chesed v'klei zahav. Amud be'Rav Yanai ein na el lashon bakasha. Na means please. So Daber na as to please speak to the in the ears of the nation to get money, to borrow money, take money. So the Gemara says, "Amli Hakadosh Baruch Hu Moshe bevakasha mimcha leich v'amor lehem liYisrael." Go tell Yisrael bevakasha mikem before you leave Mitzrayim. Shalu Mitzrayim klei chesed u'klei zahav. And in order to go, because the Hashem had said to Avram Avinu, "V'achrechen yetzu b'rechush gadol." Shelo yomar, as the Gemara continues, Shelo yomar otot tzaddik, being Avram Avinu, that the gzeira of the shiabud of avadum v'inu otam in last week's parsha of that the gzeira is mekayim b'hem b'nei Yisrael, but the promise of achrechen yetzu b'rechush gadol lo kiyem b'hem. So Amalot b'nei Yisrael said to Moshe Rabbeinu, "Levai sheneitzei ba'atzmo." We should go to Mitzrayim, just leave without the rechush gadol. Because Mashal Adam sheyach chavush b'beit asurim, he was in jail. Vayu omrim lo b'nei Adam motzim otcha lemachar b'beit asurim, and notnim lecha mamon harbe. V'omer lehem bevakasha mikem, just hotzi onei hayom, get me out of here. Ve'enu mevakesh klum. So Gam Am Yisrael, when they heard Bakashat Moshe, they said, "Look, just let me get out of here, even without the rechush gadol." Rabbi Rosner Shlita quoted the Mizrahi in a beautiful yesod that says that when it says "Ein na el lashon bakasha," it doesn't mean that it always means please. And he quoted many different times that the word "not" doesn't always have to mean please, but when it says "Ve'ein na ela" here, specifically in this case, it means please. What's interesting is that one of the cases that the Mizrahi quoted was the pasuk by Korban Pesach of Al Tivashel Mivushal Na, which means half-baked, which means raw. But you have to obviously have it roasted, tzliyesh. And that was one of the Mizrahi's proofs. The Afkar of Shimshon Rafal Hirsch in that Izor is in that area actually says that Na it is connected to please. Because a lot of times Na is the halfway, where you ask the person, please don't continue with what you want, just stop halfway. So it's just an interesting ha'ara. The Gemara continues and says that the pasuk says again, continuing the pasukim, it said, "V'Hashem natan atchina am b'nei Mitzrayim vayash ilum." The Gemara wants to know machlokas amoraim. What does the word vayash ilum mean? Which is in the hifil, it's the causative. So amar avamim balamim she'ish ilum ba'al korcham. They did it against their will. The question is, who was forced? Ikadam some says is about Korchach the Mitzrayim, the Bnei Yisrael forced Mitzrayim to give him the Klei Kesef and Klei Zahav. Ikadam about Korcham the Yisrael, against the will of Am Yisrael. Mad Amar about Korcham the Mitzrayim Midachtiv, it says Univas into Hilm. Univas Bayi is to Chalik Shalal. Univas Bayi is being Bnei Yisrael. They will mechalik the Shalal, the booty that they took about Korcham against Mitzrayim. Umanda Amar that it was done by Korcham the Yisrael. What's the reason about Korcham the Yisrael? Mishum Masoi, literally because of the heavy burden that they would carry from Mitzrayim. And the Vilna Gaon says, because Am Yisrael knew that they were going to be Zoch and the Biza Gedol of the Yam. Therefore they said, why do I need this big Masa? Right? If the Mitzrayim wants to give us this Masari Yam Suf, let them, we'll do it there. Why do I need to carry it this whole way? Let the Mitzrayim carry it until Yam Suf. What's pretty amazing, Rabbi Rosner again quoted from the Oznaim LaTorah about the Vayash Ilum, about the reparations. That it's such a big yesod of German reparations. Of some people want it, some people don't want it. That concept of Vayash Ilum really has modern day hashlachot over here. The Gemara continues. Vayinatzelu at Mitzrayim. Omer Rabbi Ami Melamid Sha'asuah Kimitsuda Shem Badagan. Am Yisrael made to Mitzrayim like a net, a trap of ofot that doesn't have dagan. That normally hunters, they put some wheat underneath their nets or their traps in order that the ofot will come to eat and get trapped. But a mitzuda that doesn't have dagan, the birds don't come and it's empty. So too, we emptied out the mitzrim from all of their chush. Like the umek of the yam, deep down, that's where the dagim are not, because the dagim usually are on the top. So too, again, we were Mirokan and Mitzrayim from their chush. We have to go deeper into these different mishalim. The Gemara continues, and another pasuk when it comes to Mitzrayim that Hashem said to Moshe, when being revealed in the sneh, Hashem said to Moshe, Ekeh asher ekeh, v'yomer ko tomar l'bnei Yisrael, shalachani aleichem. And the Gemara says that when he said Ekeh asher ekeh, why the double? Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu Moshe, leichem mor lehem l'Yisrael, go tell them, ani hayiti imachem b'shibud zeh, I was with you in this shibud of Mitzrayim, and that's the first Ekeh, v'ani hayekeh imachem, even in the shibud of the other malchiot in the future. From Marshal Manaf, it's too much for them. They can't be makabel talking about shibud of shar malchios. Kadosh Baruch Hu, you're right. Lechem mor lehem, just, and that's the next part of the pasuk. I'm with them with the shibud Mitzrayim, and don't mention the future tzaros. Similarly, of when you talk about the double language of Ekeh asher ekeh, something we saw already by Eliyahu and Carmel right before the Mishnah. Aneni Hashem Aneni in Malachim Aleph. Amar Rabavo. Why does Eliyahu say Aneni twice? Balami Chamar Eliyahu. If Nakadosh Baruch Hu Boru Shalom. Aneni answer me shetered ish min hashamayim, that ish should come down from Shamayim. V'tocha kol asher al mizbeach, and everything on the mizbeach. V'aneni against the Elokei Baal. V'aneni, or that shetasiach datam, should have a hesach hadat from their machshavat rasha. That people shouldn't say, oh, the fire came and it was all just witchcraft. Maisik shafamim. Shneimar at the end of the pasuk, v'ata sibotat libam achoranit. That through this miracle, they will be able to turn their face achoranit and really just not say that it's a mikra or kshafim, but now they will turn their hearts and say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu did it. The next mission now we start on Zman Kriyat Shema now in Shachris. When is the time earliest time to say Kriyat Shema Shachris? We're going to have 2 days in the mission and also on the Gemara. First opinion is Achiyakir Bein Tcheles Lelavan, right? The color of Tcheles to Lavan, right? And the Mefarshim talk about how the Parsha of Tzitzis and Kriyat Shema are interconnected over Isem also in different ways, and that's the connection over here also, as we will see. Rabbi Elazar says no, it starts a little bit later. That you can be bein tcheles to karti, right? More similar colors, and therefore you need a little more light, and therefore it's a little bit later in the day. They talk about this machlokas of what we talked about, that the machlokas is when is the zman kima of rov bnei adam. Is it when you can make the distinction between tcheles lavan or tcheles lekarti? Yerushalmi explains that the machlokas is how do you darshan the pasuk. I said u'item oto, which connected to mitzvah Kriyat Shema, is u'item oto on the tcheles, between the tcheles of the tzitzis and the lavan, or u'item oto is that you could be makir from one seva to some that is very close to it. The Mishnah continues that the sov zman Kriyat Shema is adanitzachama. Okay, and Rabbi Yeshua says mapitom that really it's ad shalosh shaot, that sheken derech malachim lamod at the end b'shalosh shaot, and it's still considered zman kima. The Mishnah continues: a person who reads Kriyat Shema, Kori Mikan ve'elach, after the zman, you lo hifsid the schar. Even if you're not yotzei Kriyat Shema, you still get the schar ka'odam hakori ba Torah, which we'll discuss as we move ahead. The Gemara says, what does it mean, the chiluk, the distinction between tcheles, love, and elim? But does the pshat mean that you make a distinction between gvava da amra chivra, between a shear of white cotton, legvava da amra da tchelta, to the shear of cotton that it's colored tcheles? If that's true, habalela namin made the yadi. I don't need nighttime. The light of the stars is good enough to make that distinction. So what must mean Ella? It means the gizat semer that was tcheles, but you still have a couple of spots that the tcheles didn't go in well. So now bein tcheles lavan is that you could not make the distinction between tcheles shabbat and lavan shabbat. There you need more light. The Gemara continues and says as follows. More about, as I had said, the Gemara is going to bring down a breita. Rabbi Meir Omer, about when is the tcheles man kriyat shema mishiyakir. They have enough light to make the distinction between zev and kelev that are similar to each other, as the Mishnayos and Kilayim say. Rabbi Akiva says ben chamor le arod, different types of donkeys. that are similar. Of what? So your acquaintances. The Gemara brings down again another opinion of Zman Kriya Shema. Amar Abaye, for Hanachas Tefillin, which the Zman is before Kriya Shema, the halacha is like Acher. Right? That's the beginning of the Zman Hanacha, is when you could, again, Mishiyakir. But Tchilas of Zman Kriya Shema, you should go like Vatikin. To Amar Rav Yochanan, Vatikin, the people, as the Mefarshim say, are Novim Machavim Mitzvahs. People love mitzvahs. How you gomer, so they will finish Kriya Shema Ima Netzachama. At the beginning of Kriya Shema is a little bit before Netz, right? Where you could then finish the brachos with the Netz, and we will say why that's true. But the Brisa says, Tani Hamihachi Vasikana you gomer Rota Ima Netzachama. Why? As we've talked about, smichas gula l'tefila, and then daven Shemona Esrei v'nimsa mispal bayom. Amar B'zer Ma'ikra, the pasuk. Then it's also quoted in Shulchan Aruch Siman Pei Tes when it comes to tefila. Yira'uchem shemesh and tehillim v'lifnei areach dor dorim. Right? When should be yira'ucha through kabbalat umachut shamayim that you're makabel kriyat shema im hashemesh, which is samach to the vasikin, the zrichas hachama, and that's where kriyat shema is samach the zricha, and then zman tefila is by the zrichas hachama. Yes, smichas gula tefila. The Gemara continues and says that Hey Rabbi Yossi ben Eliyakim mishum kahala kadisha Yerushalayim. It's right. There's a testimony of Rabbi Yossi ben Eliyakim in front of the kol kadisha of Yerushalayim. The Yerushalmi and the Medrash explain why they called a kol kadisha. Is because amongst them was Rabbi Yossi ben Meshulam and Rav Shima ben Menasya, and they would split up their day, a shlish of Torah, a shlish of tefillah, and a shlish of going to work. Right, or some said they were Yageh Batorah in Mosachorif, and then they went to work during the summer. But very, very interesting. That should we should have that Kila Kedosha, the Yerushalayim. Kol Asomach Gula Tefila, Inu Nizok Kolayim Kula. They're not damaged at all, as long as you're Somach Gula Tefila for that day. Omer Abzeira, Inis, it's really true. Mahana Samchi Vitazik. Abzeira said, "What are you talking about? I did Smichas Gula Tefila and I got a hezek." Omer Le, they said, the Bnei Yeshiva said to Abzeira, "My Tazik, what did you get damaged with?" Dam Tayi Asa Lebei Malcolm. He says, "I brought Hadassim to the Beis HaMelech because of taxes. They took my hadassim. So Hasam Nami, the Gemara says, you should have paid a sachar to see the melech. I mean, it's not enough that you didn't get damaged. You did that, but you also got hana from seeing the melech without paying money for that. All right, they gave it to him because the Amar Rav Yochanan la'olam yishta'al la'odam la'rutz the cross malchei Yisrael, because the mitzvah of machabed malchei Yisrael v'lo l'rekrat. Not only for Malchi Yisrael, but you should run. Why? Shim Yizke. In Olam Haba, to see the Gedulas and of Yisrael, Yavchin, you can then make a distinction between the covet of Rav that you got by Malchi Yisrael and the covet of the Malchi over the Kochavim, which you got right now. The Gemara continues and says an amazing concept also of Amalei Rabbi La Le'ula Ki Ayla Hasam. When you come to Eretz Yisrael, Shol B'Shloma de Rav Bronachi. Please ask Mashlom, my brother, either literally my brother or my ach, as we talk here colloquially, of Rav Brona, b'mamad kol chabura, in front of everybody. Why? Because he's an Adam Gadol. Why is he an Adam Gadol? V'samech b'mitzvos. He's samech b'mitzvos. Gemara says, Zim nachada samach gula tefila. One time, talks about how much is great in mitzvos. One time, he was samech gula tefila, v'lo pasach chocha mipume kula yoma. He didn't stop smiling the whole day. So again, we have to talk about what that means. Just running out of time. Gemara says, what does it mean? Hechi matzi samech. How can you do smichas gula l'tfila v'ha'am Rav Yochanan betchila? Like we said already, you have to say Hashem svasai tiftach. L'besof, you say Yidu Ratzonim Reif V'gam Milfanecha. So isn't Hashem svasai tiftach a hefsek? Amar Rav Elazar tehei betfila shel arvis. That which Rav Yochanan says that you have to say Hashem svasai tiftach is tefillah shel arvis, where we're not choshesh for smichas gula tefillah. Amar Rav Yochanan. Then Rav Yochanan say Hezo ben alam haba Gemara and Dalan and Beis. We said samach gula tefillah arvis tefillah shel arvis. Elam Rav Elazar, like we had said tehei. What Rabbi Yochanan says, you have to say Hashem Svasai Tiftach is b'tfilas mincha. There is no geula at all. Another area is Rav Hashem Rafilu Tema Kulu, that it's on all tfilas, but there's no hefsek, because we said Kevin Kavur Rabbanam. Once the Rabbanan instituted, but tefillah is kit tefillah rechtadam. It's one long tefillah. It's not considered a hefsek. Tilo Tamachi, because if you don't say this, right? How about Arvis Hechi Matzi Samech? How can you do smichas gula tefillah? We had said V'abay Lemeimar Hashki Veinu. Ella, what we have said already, once they instituted it's one long gula, but tefillah, it's a tefillah rucha, it's not considered a hefsek. Everyone should have an amazing day. We'll add some more stuff on the chat.